Today I'm joined with David Turvey from Kogi Iron Limited. Can you give us a brief introduction to the company?
Yes, thanks. We're an ASX Australian Stock Exchange listed junior mining company. Been around for 8 to 10 years, where we initially explored, discovered and evaluated an iron ore project in central southern Nigeria. And that has been proved up to JORC status, inferred and indicated resource status, and is a large resource. It's of moderate quality iron ore, and it's taken a good deal of money and a good deal of time to do the exploration evaluation. And we looked at, in a pre-feasibility study sense, the viability of exporting a concentrate iron ore product. Because of the cost of infrastructure, the unreliability of infrastructure, and really a declining price market for low-grade material particularly, it really is unviable. It can make money at very high iron ore prices, which they still are and have been, but ultimately the iron ore prices won't be there and can't stay there. So a couple of years ago, the board of the company, I'm a new managing director, I've only been the managing director for 4 months or so, and a non-executive for about 5 or 6. So the board of the day rightly changed the direction and focus of the company to become an integrated iron ore to steel producer, to replace imports of steel into Nigeria. It's when I got interested in the company, because it is unique in, one, its asset base, but two, in this import substitution sense. So the bottom line for Nigeria is that the whole economy is constrained by the cost of supply of scrap steel. It's not a very good place for an economy to be. It's a large economy, it's one of the largest in Africa, if not the largest, and to have a large economy in 200 odd million people constrained, or industry constrained because it can't get steel, it's a bit of a sad place to be. But that's what attracted me to the opportunity space of converting what is a large and good iron ore deposit, though be it at low grade, into steel. So that's where we're at the moment. I'm currently raising some equity capital, about 8 million US, to support a raising we did in Australia in December last year, where our shareholders very well supported, let's say, the new direction, and me as part of the new team, to move this thing forward. So I was pretty pleased that the shareholders thanked me for moving things forward. And the share price has appreciated related to shareholder like of the direction. But it needs a lot more money. These are big capital sinks ultimately in the project. We are at an evaluation stage, we're not at a building stage tomorrow. You still have to design the thing and make sure that it can be debt financed. So that's where we're at. I'm raising equity funding, mainly in the UK and Europe, maybe a little bit in North America, because the logical equity providers are in those countries related to Africa. And that's been good fun. I caught up with some good friends that are invested with me before in public space. And it's a fascinating project. So we'll get that. That'll give us enough money to complete a feasibility study and put out a financial model that everyone in the world can look at independently and value the merits or the bankability of that as a set of numbers, whether it be technical, whether it be market, whether it be commercial, whether it be government, whether it be whatever, the various components of the feasibility study.
So what will the key milestones be in 2020 for you in this project?
Yeah, so it is a feasibility study, so there are some technical test works that need to be completed. We have already completed, let's call it CITER and bench scale steel test work on the raw materials, so on our iron ore and on local coal and on local limestone. We in fact brought tonnages down here and did the work in South Africa. I'm sitting in Cape Town at the moment for people who didn't know. And that was proof of concept to some degree and gives you an idea of some of the cost parameters, but also the design parameters that are logical. the next step is to do effectively optimization steel test work at a larger scale that is then bankable. And that has to be with a reputable refining company. And with the type of ore we have and the types of simple technologies, we're not using new age R&D type technology, we're going back and in fact keeping it simple. But we're doing test work to work out whether it can be purified or refined to produce product. So that's technical. With that we will quantify the resource to a reserve status to enable that. That by definition is the fundability of reserve to supply. We'll be doing some further market work. We did News Fast Markets UK, world's experts really in the steel industry structures, and to do a very good piece of work in 2018, into 2018. So we understand the relative scale, size and price cost structures of the current market. It's to turn what are current MOUs we have with customers into conditional offtake contracts. Ultimately, that's what the next bit of market work is. That's the price equation, in other words, the revenue side of your spreadsheet that needs to do. With that, there's a whole lot of commercial foreign investment policies in discussion with the government. I went the wrong way a little bit there. We are very ESG conscious, the environmental, social, governance side. If you're building an industrial project, you are under the microscope. So we have, at a local level, invested, and we're quite liked by the local community. And as we progress, we will probably not overspend, but we'll certainly make sure that that almost gets done prior to the technical stuff. So why set yourself up for due diligence and failure in your environmental side when you should do it first, really, and then work out what it costs? So to me, the whole structure is the environmental social side, from local to international, because this will be internationally funded. And yeah, that's my blood and bones, is to do that sort of thing. So our newsletter on the website shows some, I like the photos of what we're spending on, how we're spending it, how the community interacts with this activity. And they'll be invited to interact at all times with increased activity. So you just start day one. I'm rambling a little bit, but have I answered your question?
Yes, you have.
They're milestones.
Yeah.
So any one of those announceable to the ASX. Yeah. The market will do what the market will do. Yeah. What it is a progression to finality of a feasibility study towards the end of this year, early next year.
So everything sounds very exciting. So how have you found the conference so far? Has it been good, one-to-one?
Yeah, it is. It's a good concept, and it's intense, but there are people that do want to hear that really it's a people game and it's a face-to-face. You know, I can write whatever in the public domain, but people are really investing in you as a person and the team as people. So it's who you are, your beliefs, your team's ability to deliver, historically, let alone currently, and that only comes with one-to-one, face-to-face, really. So by definition, the structure of it's quite functional.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time. Cheers.